I've been working in assisted living now for close to 3 years. And something that I have found is it is a very high turnover staff position for staff, for the caregivers, but also we've had a lot of struggles with our administrators and them wanting to quit because they just feel so overwhelmed by everything that they have going on as they try to operate the facility and make it work the way that it needs to and make it operate. I'm going to get into a discussion today on how to have conversations with your staff that might want to quit and how you can relate to them and help them through the process and process those things while also being aware of mental health and why it's important and not trying to guilt somebody into staying. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Hey everybody, it's Brandon Gustafson. Welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. I'm excited to have you on the channel today for a topic that I think is really important for us to have. I have owned my facilities now for about 3 years, and in that time have had, with my two facilities, have had 3 different administrators. So we had one that quit, and I'll make sure I link that video up above, and you can go ahead and watch that experience. And then I'll link the other one above that is when recently my administrator talked to me and asked me, gave me 2 weeks notice that she wanted to quit as well. So I'll link those 2 videos up there so that you can watch those if you want the kind of the story on what happened in each of those experiences. What I probably haven't said though is my administrator, I'm going to start in Colorado. My administrator there, we went through a really rough time with a resident at one point. And that individual was verbally abusive and was just making everybody's life hard, not just our administrator, but all the other staff, the residents, and because of Colorado eviction laws, especially during the COVID period, it was really hard to get that individual to leave the facility. Ultimately, they decided to leave on their own, and it was a very happy day at the facility when that happened. But leading up to that, I had several conversations with my administrator who would call me crying because this resident had said or done something that was just extremely hard for our administrator to handle and try to deal with. And we would talk it through, and I would make sure that she knew that I was there to support her and that we appreciated everything that she was doing. And we were there to help her, support her, give her what she needed. If I ever needed to have conversations with that resident, that I was happy to do, which I had several of those, which were not the most pleasant conversations, but we were able to work through that process. She was struggling, our administrator was struggling with staff threatening to quit if this resident didn't leave, residents threatening to leave the facility if this person didn't leave. We were hesitant to bring more residents into this atmosphere that was just so heavy and so difficult to deal with. And so we were struggling quite a bit financially during that period of time as we were trying to get this person there. But it took a lot of conversations, a lot of texts, a lot of calls, a lot of crying together, and figuring out how we could help our administrator through those struggles. Ultimately, that individual left our facility, and our administrator was much happier, and the administrator has gone through other difficult things. Like, there's just a lot of heavy stuff that happens when you are operating a facility. It can be with residents, it can be with staff, it can be in a variety of different areas, but doing that can be hard. So having open conversations, open communication, making sure that they know that you're there as an operator to help them out is going to be key. It's going to be super important for you to do. I'm going to shift now over to Idaho. So Idaho, we've had two administrators there. Our first one was incredible. She did a lot of really great things for us, but she was getting extremely overwhelmed with staffing, just struggling trying to get staffing in place. She was working a lot of hours. She lived an hour away from the facility at the time, and it was just really hard for her to do that. To feel like she had to sleep at the facility to just make sure everything was operating, and she just broke down. And I tried to have conversations with her. We are still on good terms. despite her leaving. We chat every month or two. She still gets notifications from people about our facility. We're not sure why that's getting to her, but it is, and she forwards it to me, and I check in and say, hey, how's it going, and just kind of keep things updated on how she's doing and things like that, because we loved having her. She was great for us. But the day that she told me she was going to quit, it was a conversation again, and a lot of just crying together and making her see how important she was to us, and that we were aware of everything that she was struggling with and all of the things that come with running a facility. Ultimately, she decided to leave, and that was fine. It was really hard for us at the time. You can definitely watch those videos that I linked earlier in this video to get an update on how that went. But we've landed in a really good position with the situation that we're in now. And then the second one in Idaho was our very recent. Our administrator reached out to me and let me know that they were giving their 2 weeks notice, and had a follow-up call with them, and then another follow-up call. Ultimately, what had happened was just feeling overwhelmed and a lack of perceived support. And it's one of the hard things when you're operating out of state, is making sure that they know that you're there, and even if they're not seeing you, they might not talk to you every day even, but making sure that they know that you're there to support them and help them throughout the entire process. That's extremely important, something that you want to do. And so we had that conversation, and the first one was actually really good. Just kind of, we both were going through very interesting life changes, and I'll link the video up of my experience with Novus Health, so you can get a background on what that was like for me as we went through that process. But we were sharing our life experiences. I gave her a few days to breathe and think about it, and then ultimately we followed up and had another conversation, and it was really good. And she was able to communicate to me what her needs are and her struggles and how we can help her out, which I think was really good for us to have that conversation. So all of these things have something in common. It is communicating. It is making sure that you're having that conversation with the people that are important. It's I think as an administrator, it's probably more difficult. It's a very different position where they would be talking with caregivers, and a lot of the time that position is going to be driven by money, and if they find somewhere that looks like it might be better because it pays an extra 50 cents an hour, they're probably going to take the job. Like, that's the reality of those jobs often. But with administrators and people that are more in that leadership type of a role, having that conversation and showing support and showing them that you are there and communicating with them is key to helping you be successful and helping you achieve your goals and get to the point where everybody's happy and where they need to be. So just want to encourage you that whether you're operating in the state that you're in, or you're operating out of state, making sure that you are communicating, having that back and forth, and talking about the struggles that you're going through, it's extremely important. And I highly encourage you, if you are an administrator and you're watching this, or you're an owner administrator, I would encourage you to have those conversations with your staff and make sure that they know where you're coming from, what your struggles are, what you need help with, and listen to them when they tell you the same thing. That's much more important than you telling them and being clear. It's helpful when you're clear to them on your expectations, but more than that, you need to be listening to them and understanding what their trials are, what their issues are, what their struggles are, and how you can help them, and then follow through with that and make sure you're doing what you need to do to help them get through those struggles and help them progress and get to the point where they feel comfortable in those jobs. That's a lot of what you need to do as an owner, administrator, operator, whatever position you're in. The people that are underneath you, make sure you're just communicating with them and having those conversations. It goes a long way to show them that you care and you're aware of them and their needs. So very strongly encourage you to do that. If you're struggling with one of those things, I'm happy to chat with you. Make sure you go to assistedlivinginvesting.net. We can commiserate together. I've experienced it a few times. And if you are interested in learning more about what we're doing at Assisted Living Investing, make sure you visit us on the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. We're going to have resources out there for you. We're going to have a book soon. We have courses that we'll be launching as well, where I can kind of coach you through the process and help you get to the point where you know and you're comfortable starting your own facility, whether it's renovating a house and getting it started, building something from the ground up, or purchasing something that is local to you or out of state. We're building that course. I'm going to help you through that process, coach you through it. We got a 12-week course, and excited to share that with you. Visit us again at assistedlivinginvesting.net. If you have any questions, if you're struggling with things, just remember, you can do this. Just keep making progress step by step by step. I promise you, if you do, you are going to be successful. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.